Hello. This episode is called, this essay is called Introduction of Temporal Locke's Language. At time of writing, it is 10:35 of April 3rd, 2017. As soon as I declare this ostensibly true statement, it immediately decays in truth value relative to the rest of the universe. As time moves on and more observers become aware of it, the statement inevitably becomes subject to critique, which may ultimately and directly contradict both the intent of and the meaning of this statement. This process is what some call death of the author, and what I generally refer to as entropic decay, with entropic meaning of or relating to entropy, and decay meaning the release of information such that the starting observation contains information of less confirmatory power than subsequent measurements and observations. It would be wise to introduce a ruler intrinsic to the work that enables new observers to note the current truth content of any statement as a derivative half-life probabilistic collapse resulting from a variable number of biased and unbiased observers having meaningful contact with the statement and the universe it describes. Light, as it were, offers the greatest use, as evidence of the phenomena spans many fields and thus can serve as a useful universal stand-in for a starting and ending point. I have yet to meaningfully produce a formula by which to use light, but basic premises include the presumption of omnidirectional and thus functionally spherical movement from a centralized point, the distance across which can be found with a series of inductions using a linear function that recognizes both how much information is available in the overarching spherical universe and how much information should be available in a universe with proportions constraint to those metrics. Truthful observations lay parallel to truthful observations, and deliberate contradictions lay perpendicular, suggestive of at least one 90-degree rotation and angle of inflection. Note this number is for personal preference, for as a completely abstract system, specific notations are largely arbitrary. As so, the universe in which this statement, or essay as it has become, has now aged such that at this moment of writing, it is now 1049 of the same date. The information confirmable now is necessarily different in at least one place, time. The universes in which the beginning, middle, and end of this essay can be observed to be true are infinite, yet those that lie tangent to this one can be said to be parallel, in which case information is allowed to pass freely between them, regardless of internal mechanical interference a la event horizon. This synchronizes the possibilities and collapses them into meaningful expressions of the probabilistic functions that could have been different until a point of temporal equilibrium where all observers confirm their own subjective and objective experiences as universal, mediated by a measurement of light traveling at c, with matter serving as a means to differentiate between measurements and energy as the means of confirming both. Once established, that universal measurement can be said to be temporally locked, with observers moving forward having access to a limited spectrum of probabilistic choices, a central finite curve, expressed and experienced as free will, until such a point where entropic decay reaches a maximum and the function terminates. It is now 10:57. When I record my voice, it will be a different time. When this uploads, it will be a different time. Depending on how much truthful information I started with, the essay may have decayed beyond all hope of being truthful. Such is the fate of all measurements using finite observational tools. I must simply hope that, secretly, this explanation of the mechanics of Rick and Morty are entertaining enough to provide a skeleton in which to best enjoy that series. Season 3, Episode 1 I loved it. And I just got a free Rick medal in the mail. Like, ironic, huh? Because he's clearly a character that never needs to be freed. Remember from Season 2, Episode 1? He could get out at any time he wanted and probably experience his time after death in some way, you know? Woo, Rick and Morty, that's what this is about. That Harmon fella and that Royland with the voices, you think Rick is Mexican? I mean, it is 11:02 and I need to conclude this essay. I wrote all this down. I should get the camera to show that. I don't know if I did it yet, but you do. You know more than me because of the stuff I said, and I think the middle. I don't know how long the essay took, and I didn't proofread it or anything. Probably like a bunch of minutes. I hope I'm not dead. Like, one day I'll be dead, and enough information will exist to re-express me, relatively speaking, as a potential outcome of the genes that wrote this essay. But that's a whole other thing. Thank you.